Oh. Right now, Bhagavan Rama has defeated Ravana in battle. And Bhagavan Rama had shared with Sri Bharata that he will be back in Ayodhya after the 14 years are complete, on the day itself. Now, Bhagavan Rama is not going to make it back to Ayodhya in time to keep Sri Bharata encouraged. So he asks Hanumanji, go inform Sri Bharata that we're coming home. And this is what's happening right now. Hanumanji is traveling to Ayodhya. He's going to meet Sri Bharata. And Sri Bharata is going to be so overwhelmed with joy that Bhagavan Rama, his brother, is coming back. And when one is joyous, it's like living artfully. It just naturally gets shared with others. So Sri Bharata tells all of the people in Ayodhya that we should prepare ourselves for Bhagavan Rama. And so everyone is cleaning their homes, everyone is wearing new clothes, and everyone is lighting deepas. They're lighting deepas because they didn't have Hydro One in Ayodhya. And this is the literal meaning of the celebrations we're engaged in right now, of Vijayadashmi and Deepavali. But Sanatana Dharma is not literal. Actually, no religion is literal. No human being is literal. We are much deeper than that. But when we don't think, we take all matters literally. And that causes confusion and conflict between people and religions also. And who do we blame then? We never want to blame ourselves, so we quickly blame religion, isn't it? You've all studied texts on tips for happy living. One of them is called Jivan Sutrani. And I had listened to some talks on tips for unhappy living. Very interesting talk. And one of the points was, take everything as personally as possible. If you do that, you will definitely be unhappy. Take everything as literally as possible. With life, with Sanatana Dharma, we also have to study the implied meaning, the deeper meaning, because that's where you feel what was shared literally. In Sanatana Dharma, we do not believe time is linear. Time is cyclical. After the end of a certain period of time, we go back to the beginning. Just like going to sleep and waking up. A forest fire goes and burns the forest down, but then the forest comes back up. And not just with time, with space also. First, we said the world was flat. Then the world became round. Then the world became the galaxy, solar system. And the sun was the center of the universe, right? Laughable now, isn't it? Now we don't even call it a universe, we call it a multiverse. Where was all this taught? Shastras. From the start, we've shared that there's endless Brahmandas, and in each Brahmanda, endless lokas. Endless universes, and in each universe, dimensions. Each person here is experiencing time in a different way, isn't it? Same dimension, yet different dimensions. I was traveling from one center to another center, and I had done a satsang at a home, and there was a young boy in that home. He must have been 12. And I took him to the other center I was going to speak at because I was coming back. And everyone else in the car was an adult, and I felt like he was feeling shy. So I'd asked him, how was the satsang at your home yesterday? He said, well, for the 2 hours you spoke, I spoke for 45 minutes. But he felt like I spoke for 2 hours. You have to go deep. When bhaktas meet bhaktas, what do? They prepare for Bhagavan. When bhaktas meet bhaktas, they prepare for Bhagavan. That's what we're doing right now, isn't it? And all of us are doing also from all over North America. Bhaktas with bhaktas preparing for Bhagavan. And a way that we're preparing for Bhagavan is to light a deepa. A deepa is external, but more so the implied meaning of a deepa, I'll share with all of you now. Those traditional diyas that we see, not the battery-operated candle lights that we use now. The vessel is made up of clay. What part of you is made up of clay? Body. A diya, don't look at the clay. That diya, that's your body. And what does the body hold? In a diya's case, it's oil, ghee. What is the oil and ghee inside of you? Thoughts, ego, Atman, energy, vasanas. Vasanas, or simply put, ignorance. Now, if you have this clay vessel and you have the ignorance in it, or the ghee, does anything happen to the ghee? No. So we put in a wick. What is the wick in us? Mind. It's the mind, or our inner software. Now, if you put the wick in the ghee, in the clay, does anything happen to the ghee? We keep it out, it gets hard. So what do you do with that deepa? You take it to Bhagavan, whose nature is knowledge, and you light your mind on fire with knowledge. Because what's the only cure to ignorance? Knowledge. And that mind just keeps sucking out all of that ghee. And then, when there's no vasanas, that is Deepavali. Who arrives then? Bhagavan Rama. So this Deepavali, how are you celebrating? In a literal way? In an implied way? And what's so meaningful here, if we think about it, Lord Rama came after those 14 years. Isn't it interesting that Kaikeyi asked him to go for 14 years? And he came after those 14 years right on. Was it by accident that this came together? Lord Rama knew all. This is his Leela. And so he was smiling. He was smiling when he left. He was smiling when he came back. And he's teaching us at an implied level, smile. Right now you're all looking at me like, what did we get ourselves into? You're all thinking of it more. You're part of the course weekly. Smile means be courageous. Bhagavan is guiding us. Bhagavan is behind us. Bhagavan's in front of us. Be courageous in every direction. If you take this literally, it doesn't mean so much, but the implied meaning, what does it mean for you? Bhagavan knows. Bhagavan will work. Right? Going into a review of last week. Last week we didn't study, 2 weeks ago, we didn't study Ramayana, we studied Namayana. Remember we were highlighting how within Ramayana there's a section called Namayana, the path of the name, the glory of the name. So I'll tell you about how glorious Bhagavan Rama's name is. Who's the first person to conceive of Ramayana? Bhagavan Shiva. And how long was the original Ramayana? Shatakoti shloka. So 1 billion verses. How many is the Veda? 100,000. How many is Gita? 700. Imagine 1 billion shlokas. So when Lord Shiva had conceived of Ramayana, he was radiating that joy. Bhagavan Shiva likes to keep to himself, right? He lives in Kailash. Not a lot of people go over there. Vaikuntha, lots of people are coming and going, but Kailash is more of a solitary place. But the whole world, the whole multiverse was feeling Lord Shiva's joy. So the Rakshasas, the Manavas, and the Devatas all went to Lord Shiva and said, we want some too. Isn't it when someone is happy, we ask? We ask in a mean way, why are you so happy? Instead of asking, please tell me how to be happy. So they all asked, and Lord Shiva said, so they all approached Lord Shiva, and they said, we want some. So Lord Shiva said, fine. He took those 1 billion shlokas, and he gave a third to each. He gave 300 million shlokas to each. But we're like that, Rakshasas, Manavas, Devatas. That wasn't enough, because there's still 100 million left. So they said, we want that shared too. So the 100 million came down to 10 million, because each got 30 million. We wanted part of that too. So the 10 million, 3 million, 3 million, 3 million. How many are left with Lord Shiva? 1 million. We want that too. So 300,000, 300,000, 300,000. 100,000 left with Lord Shiva. 30,000, 30,000, 30,000. 10,000 left with Lord Shiva from 1 billion. 3,000, 3,000, 3,000. 1,000 left with Lord Shiva. 300, 300, 300. 100 left with Lord Shiva. 30, 30, 30. 10 with Lord Shiva from 1 billion. 3, 3, 3. 1 left with Lord Shiva. He said, forget about all of you. I'm keeping this. And that was Ram. He distributed the other 999 million to 999 words, but he kept Ram. Now, if Lord Shiva's keeping that, it must be great, isn't it? Ramayana. And one name that will come up again and again and again, and I'm sharing with you now because it's how Deepavali should be celebrated. What is Mother Sita's favorite name for Lord Rama? No, Mother Sita's name for Lord Rama. Right? We all have our names for our spouses, good and bad, good and bad. Mother Sita only had good names for Lord Rama, and she had a favorite though. Karuna Nidhana. Karuna Nidhana. Nidhana means the source, the treasure house of Karuna, compassion. You and I are compassionate because we want compassion in return. In Moha Mudgara, we studied, we give because we want to get. Lord Rama just gives. In Lord Shiva's case too, isn't it? The compassion that he conceived of the billion, he kept 1. Ramayana is not okay just to know the name. You have to know the meaning of the name too. And I share this because when I speak in different organizations, I hear them teach them, you don't have to know the meaning of the name, just chant. Again, that's like watching a movie where you don't know what's going on. Studying a subject that you don't know what's happening. It's only literal. It's not implied. Bhagavan Shiva, Swamiji is teaching us the glory of the name. So let us during this Deepavali, direct ourselves to prepare, at least for the name of Bhagavan Rama, after he will come. Okay? Now, I had shared with all of you that I would give you a steady plan, and I am falling behind in doing this for you. I've been moving a lot for the last 2 weeks, but that's not unusual, so I'm apologizing that I've not been able to give you that. But I'll try. Right now I'm on the 27th Chopai. I'm reading the first 27th section of Chopais. I'm reading the first Chopai. This is on page 27. We're continuing with Ramayana. Swamiji says, Jahu jugatini kala tehu loka Bahe nama japi jiva vishoka. What Goswamiji shares here, in all of the periods of time, there's different ways to become free. If you look at it at an investment level, sometimes it's good to invest in gold, sometimes in stocks, sometimes in real estate, correct? Based on the economy. You can't just go with one rule of thumb. So in our periods of time also, there are different ways that are most effective for moksha, for freedom. In Satya Yuga, in the golden age, our minds were concentrated. And so during this period, everyone engaged in dhyana. Everyone was able to contemplate and be free. That's why you see that rishi culture, the Gurukul culture. But as time went on, atrophy began. And that concentrated mind became more distracted. During Treta Yuga, or the time when Lord Rama was present, people were no longer able to contemplate. So the way to be free, because people still wanted happiness, they still wanted independence, it was not contemplation, it was yagas. Yagas are macro rituals. 10,000 people, 1,000 pujaris, massive. In my lifetime, I've met only one person who's ever been privy to a yaga, just to show you the rarity of it. Then atrophy continued. People were still more distracted. In Dwapar Yuga, when Lord Krishna was present, people couldn't even do yagas. So the primary means for freedom, for enlightenment was yajnas or pujas. From yagas to yajnas, from macro to micro. What you can do by yourself, what you can do at home. Now, interestingly, how many people even do puja at home? Isn't it? See the reality of what's being shared. Minds continued to get distracted. We went from Treta Yuga to Kali Yuga. And Kali you can call the period of darkness. That darkness is not outside. Inside, distraction. Now people don't do puja either, as I had mentioned. Here we do, but generally we don't. So what is the primary means, the most effective way to be free? Japa. Japa is being shared here. Ramayana, I'm still continuing with the greatness of the name. And in Bhagavad Gita, when we study chapter 10, Lord Krishna will say that. Out of all yajnas, what am I? Japa yajna. Out of all yajnas, I am japa. This is how you and I will be free, because we don't have the concentration to contemplate or do macro rituals or micro rituals, but we can chant the Lord's name. Now I'll explain to you with some logic why. Why is there so much emphasis on the name? Okay. When I say rain, what comes to your mind? Quickly, tell me. Cloud. That's it. Nothing else comes to your mind. See the distraction. Spring. Water. Happiness. For others, sorrow. Correct? Okay. When I say Highbury, what do you think of? Accidents. East side, right? Getting into London, etc. When you think of a particular name, lots changes in your software. Now bringing this to japa, when you and I engage in japa means of that which is noble. Number one, what happens is you raise the quality of your thoughts. You raise the quality. And if you raise the quality, what will naturally happen? You'll reduce the quantity. If you eat good food, do you have to eat as much? If you buy a good car, do you have to buy as many cars? No. Raise the quality, reduce the quantity naturally. And when you start to reduce the quantity, the third R kicks in. You redirect the thoughts. The direction goes from outside to inside. And how did it happen? Japa. When I say Bhagavan Rama, what do you think of? Sorrow. Right? There's only the quality thoughts that come. You can't think of garbage in Lord Rama at the same time. And so you don't need to think as much. And the more quiet we become, the more happy we are. Best evidence? Sleep. Isn't it? There's no thoughts in sleep. Japa, this emphasis of Ramayana, can help a lot with preventing, or even in a reactive measure, addressing mental illness. This can. When we had a psychiatrist, a social worker, and myself speak about mental illness, we were talking about how damaging the sociological effect is on someone's brain. Pressures towards pleasure, possession, position. Competition, right? And families promote the same. Do you want your kids to have a high IQ or a high EQ? Here, publicly, you say EQ, but what do you tell them? Yeah. Right? IQ. You want them to get the job, get the promotion, get into this school, have the most hits on Shadi.com, and on and on and on. We don't promote EQ, we promote IQ. See the pressure at home. Peace is not important in society, peace is not important at home. But the only thing that will make us peaceful is peace. Is it such a mystery? Now imagine I just keep pushing you and pushing you and pushing you. Eventually you feel that's your nature, is to always be imbalanced, right? This is all happening. It's going from the difference between the mind and the brain. The mind is like radio waves. The brain is like the radio. The radio waves affect the radio, and the radio affects the radio waves. So if we can start changing the radio waves in the form of this Ramayana and the form of japa, we will change the radio also. Our neurons will actually change. They call it synapses, I think. This professor is openly sharing that. And this is what he does. Anyways, japa. And where did this all come from? Ramayana, which is within Ramayana. And Tulsidas Goswamiji says, you should do japa anytime and all the time. With contemplation, if you're not a night person, you can't contemplate. Yagas, can you do yagas during Shad? You can, but we don't. Pujas, what if I don't have chandan? Then what do I do? But japa, Goswamiji says you should do japa with good intention. You should also do japa with evil intention. If that be the case, he's not saying change it to an evil intention, but even if your intention is evil, do japa. What happened to Shishupal? I hate Lord Krishna, I hate Lord Krishna, I hate Lord Krishna. Finally, he became Lord Krishna. It's called Vairi Bhakti. That also is called Bhakti. It's not encouraged, okay? Please interpret what I'm saying clearly. It's not encouraged, but it's possible. Goswamiji says, even when you're angry, you can do japa. You can do japa. And you look at Draupadi's case, look at Ravana's case. When his body was killed, where did Ravana go? He merged with Lord Rama. He never used the word Rama, his mouth never said it, but his mind was thinking it always. And that's why when he went to kidnap Mother Sita, he went in like a scared dog because he knew of Lord Rama. So he may not have said it, but he was thinking it. That's japa, right? We've studied bhaja. Lowest form of bhaja or introductory is sing. More subtle than that, seek. Then serve. Then worship. Then love. And the highest form of bhaja, be. be what you're doing bhaja of. And Swamiji says, you can even do japa when you're yawning. In other words, practice japa on your way to sleep. Practice japa on your way to waking. Anytime and all the time. If I sneezed right now, what would you all say? Bless you. Why do you say that? You're blessing me. See, there's a tradition that why we say bless you, but we haven't thought about it too much. Back in the day, they thought when you sneezed that your soul was trying to escape through your nose. Now, if someone has a cold, your mucus is difficult to come out of your nose, but your soul is going to come out of your nose. So we say bless you. Now we have the power to put the soul back in to the body. Back in the day, they thought when you sneezed that your body stopped, like it died for that moment. So someone has to say bless you to restart your body. Back in the day when someone sneezed, maybe they had typhoid, maybe they had malaria, maybe they had the plague. So there was more feeling, I hope you get better. Now the only place where the plague is in Atlanta, at the CDC, right? It's all controlled. I can't get the plague right now. Here, in Ramayana, in Bhagavatam, it's shared all of your bodily doings, do japa. When you sneeze, Narayana. When you yawn, Shiva. To teach us, anytime and all the time. We'll go to the 29th section of Chopais. I'm on Chopai number 3, and this is on page 28. Swamiji says, Rahatina Prabhu Chita Chuka Kiya Ki Karata Surati Saya Bara Hiya Kiye Ki. What's shared here is Bhagavan never focuses on our faults. Bhagavan never focuses on our mistakes. In fact, what Swami Tejramananda said, someone went to Bhagavan and said, Bhagavan, this person had passed away, and said, Bhagavan, I committed no mistakes in my life. And Bhagavan said, that's too bad. I was waiting to forgive you. He's not saying make mistakes, okay? Again. But Bhagavan, if you make a mistake, you make a mistake. Bhagavan looks at that as an opportunity for a connection to be made, isn't it? He's looking to forgive us. When the animals were helping Bhagavan build his bridge, many, they didn't know what they were doing. Throwing trees, throwing rocks, and so on. And what did Bhagavan make of those animals? He made them his counselors. Bears became his counselors. Monkeys became his counselors. They became his security. He never focused on people's faults. He focused on people's strengths. Now, as I'm saying this, yes, Lord Rama did it, but are you doing it? That's the implied meaning of all this. As I'm speaking right now, you have two choices. You can focus on what I'm not doing well, or you can focus on what I'm doing well, which will make you happier. I hope the latter. But if it is the former, it will be temporary. It will be temporary. Don't we find much more joy in not bringing our pride into a conversation than bringing our pride into a conversation? I can say, look at how great I am, but if I don't say it when I leave, I feel I'm glad I didn't do that. Who am I to put someone in their place, right? And that's the greatness of a human being. The greatness is in being able to overlook people's weaknesses. And a really solid way to do that is everyone here was created by the perfect creator. My wife and I get to travel a lot. And so when we travel, we drive by a lot of churches. And what I like about churches is the church signs. They always have very clever sayings outside churches. So one related to this was we saw a sign that said, "We all make mistakes," and mistake was spelt wrong. Very clever, right? I saw one that said, "Thanksgiving is not a day, Thanksgiving is a vision." We make Thanksgiving a day. So one day we give thanks, and the rest of the days? That's why days like Mother's Day, Father's Day, Earth Day, they're dangerous. Because a lot of people take it as license to do whatever you want on the other days. Right? One sign I saw said, save the earth. It's the only planet with chocolate. That's so creative. Our mandirs should have signs like that outside. You know what Subhashitams are, these clever signs. Where does forgiveness begin? Where does it begin? With you. Anyone who does sadhana, anyone who's engaged in some form of self-development, this is one of the most restrictive and damaging processes, is not forgiving yourself. We are going to make mistakes. We are going to falter. And what happens when we don't forgive ourselves? When we unconsciously make a mistake, we start to do it consciously. After your first or your second episode of whatever show you're watching on Netflix, you're thinking, I already watched 2, I may as well watch 2 more, right? See how we're consciously doing it then? I already overate this much, I should keep overeating. I already hurt this person, I may as well burn that bridge. Correct? That's what we do. But you have to forgive yourself. It's okay. And when you do that, you start to allow other people that accommodation also. Forgive yourself. It's okay. Eventually you'll build momentum where you don't falter. It's very important. And this is the difference between succumbing and accepting. Succumbing and accepting. In English, succumbing and accepting are essentially the same. But in practice, they're not. When you succumb, you are honest that this is how I am, and I'm not going to change. Many people say that, right? I'm too old to change. I'm too stubborn to change. That's succumbing. But accepting is, I am honest that this is how I am, but I can change. And I will try to change. Forgive yourself not by succumbing that this is how you are, but accept this is how you are. And then change. Bhagavan is really karuna nidhana, compassionate, forgiving. Even if you know nothing about the story of Ramayana, just personality development, leadership characteristics. He always tried all of the upayas before acting. According to Chanakya, how many upayas are there? 4. Sama, next. Dana, next. Some people say bheda, some people say danda. I'm going to go with danda in the 4th. Bheda. Bheda. Sama, dana, danda, bheda. Sama means dialogue, discussion. If you and your spouse are not getting along, what is the first thing you should do? Talk. If you don't understand your high school student for the choices they're making, talk to them. Sama. Upanishads, is it Sama? Srimad Bhagavad Gita, we say Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade in this dialogue. And if Sama doesn't work, then you try Dana. Duryodhana's there, Arjuna's there. You can have whatever you want. Dana, isn't it? You make it about distributing. In India, we turn that into bribery. And if dana doesn't work, then danda. Danda means punishment. Danda can also mean fear. Don't smoke because it's bad for you. Don't smoke. I will help you. I'll pay for your gym membership. Don't smoke because it'll kill you. Don't smoke because this is what will happen to your gums and lungs and so on. See? The danda part. Increasing taxes. That's danda also. Then Bheda. And Bheda is the harshest out of these mediation techniques, separation. Imagine Ohip said, we're not going to cover your health care. We're separate from you. Would a smoker still smoke? Probably, but possibly not. Isn't it? That's what the government should do. If you smoke, you have to pay for your own insurance. See, these upayas. When the Mahabharata war was fought, even to the last day, Lord Krishna went over there and said, we don't need to do this. In Ramayana's case, Lord Rama said in the last night, just return my Sita and I will go. Forgiveness. And there's a practice of it too. Samadana, Danda, Bheda. Everyone's following? Okay. Now I want to emphasize this Sama part. Really unique movies are ones where there's stories within stories. Right? You've all seen those movies and at the end they all come together. That was started in our Shastras. In Ramayana right now, in Goswamiji's Ramayana, there's 4 dialogues that are happening. Okay? Try to tune into this. Dialogue number 1 is happening at the Devata level. Bhagavan Shiva is teaching Ramayana to Mother Parvati. What do we learn from this? That's how husbands and wives should be. Not the teaching part. I mean discussing the highest. So that's happening with the Devatas. Next is Yajnavalkya Rishi is teaching Bharadwaj Rishi. That's the second dialogue. This dialogue shows at Bhagavan's level, now at the ambassadors of Bhagavan, what are they doing? Also thinking about Bhagavan. The next dialogue is between animals. Even animals. Kakbashundi, who's a crow, is teaching Garuda. Garuda is the vehicle of Lord Vishnu, but often that which is close to us we take for granted. Even Garuda is being educated about his master. So the Devatas, the humans, the animals, and what's the 4th dialogue that's going on? Humans we put at rishis, but sure, we'll come down to humans. Goswamiji is also speaking. Who is he speaking to? First, his own mind, and through his mind, all of us. This was written a long time ago, but still, isn't the dialogue going on? So the gods, the saints, the humans, the animals, what should we be doing? Thinking and listening and speaking about the highest. The whole multiverse is doing this because this is our pursuit of happiness. What is being showed by this dialogue is animals and humans and rishis and gods, everyone is pursuing happiness. What does Rama mean? Joy. Rama comes from Ram. Ramyate, to revel, to enjoy, to be happy. This is showing everyone is pursuing happiness. These are the intelligent ones that will find that happiness. And now going to Goswamiji specifically, Goswamiji had a guru. Goswamiji's guru's name is Swami Narhari Anand. Swami Narhari Anand. And it's interesting, Goswamiji was an orphan. Tulsidas Ji was a orphan. And Swami Narhari Anand looked after Goswamiji as he was growing up. And one day, in Narhari Anandji's dream, Lord Shiva had come and said that you have someone very important with you. I'm going to teach you Ramayana and you should teach him Ramayana. And the extrapolation is then he taught all of us Ramayana, isn't it? Message here is those young people around you are important. Who knows what kind of work they can do So invest in them. Swami Tejamananda says, children don't want presents, they want presents. They don't want valuables, they want values. And Swami Narhari Anand, single parent, did that so well in learning and teaching Ramayana. And I'll finish with why all of this is happening. This is a popular and powerful line in Ramayana. I'm on the 4th section of Chopais, Chopai number 1, on page 46. Hoi hi soi jo Rama rachi rakha. Hoi hi, what does that mean? Will happen. Soi, what is thought? Jo, by Ram. Rachi rakha, what he wishes. Whatever Lord Rama ordains will happen. Kaikeyi loved Lord Rama as much as Kausalya. But Kaikeyi's problem was not herself, it was Manthara. Manthara means the one who's crooked. It's not describing her back, it's describing her mind. And Kaikeyi was not strong enough to reject that peer pressure. And so she did what she did. But when Lord Rama was told to go to the forest, what was he doing? Smiling. When he would tell people, he said, I'm going to the forest for 7 years, and then another 7 years. That's how much he was smiling, you know? Like he's redoing his option to lease a store, because business is good. Because this is all his Leela. And that's why I shared at the beginning, be courageous. Whatever you do, understand Bhagavan is holding your hand. You can try to remove your hand, but Bhagavan will not let go. Oh.